Good afternoon, everybody in the You Are Worthy Network. Steve Wormer coming at you. Hope you guys are having a great Wednesday so far. I am super excited today because I get to introduce you to someone that I think you're going to be super inspired by. Um, I have known Megan, I guess, for almost a year now, and we've done some work together, and I've admired her work from afar for that year as we've gotten to know each other better. And I'm just really excited to introduce you to her. Let me read to you a little bit about her. Megan Billnoske thrives on energy, innovation, and simplification. She just happens to do training, speaking, and coaching. After 12 years in the corporate world, she launched Imspire, Spire LLC, to encourage people to lead where you are. By year two, she had increased her revenue by 583%, and she founded the Imspire University Scholarship. With 15 years in leadership and development, she's trained 16,000 plus leaders, led strategy teams, and partnered with top organizations like HEB and the Houston Rodeo. She serves as the NSA Houston president and as a two-time Houston Business Journal 40 under 40 nominee. Wow, that's impressive. Megan, so good to see your smile today. Thank you for joining us at the You Are Worthy Network.
Oh, thank you for that introduction. And Steve, thanks so much for having me today. I am, a great friend of yours because we've talked and gotten to know each other, like you mentioned. So I'm happy to be here. And ever actually, since recently, now I'm past president for NSA Houston. So I handed off the reins to someone very talented, and Beth is doing great work there. But yeah, happy to be here because I love, at the very minimum, I love the title of this network and the purpose behind it. So I look for purpose-driven things to be a part of.
Well, we're thrilled to have you. Um, yeah, the whole premise of the network, just to reiterate those to those maybe watching for the first time, we want to really encourage all of you that we understand that we all go through trials, we all go through difficult obstacles on our journeys. No one gets through this life unscathed. It's tough, and it's even tougher these days. And we want to encourage you that you are worthy right now, whatever you've been through, whatever you've gone through. We don't minimize that at all, but we want you to know you were worthy then. And whatever you're striving to be moving forward, you are worthy right now today. So please take heart and hear that. But Megan, back to you. So obviously, as I read in the introduction, I'm assuming you still live in the Houston, Texas area and have been there a long time. Tell us more about where you're from and how you got there, and tell us about your family.
Yeah, well, family is very important to me. And so I grew up here in Houston, still here. It is hot as Hades outside. It's, just part of the territory. Thankfully, no hurricanes this summer, at least yet, knock on wood. But I've lived here ever since I was two, and all my family are from Lubbock, Texas. So the panhandle where Texas Tech is at. And so have a long history of farmers in my family. When my dad got into oil and gas, that's the reason we moved to Houston, major hub for that industry here. And yeah, I have a younger brother by 2 years. He and his wife Giovanna live in New Mexico. They are some of my favorite people. And my parents still live in Katy, Texas. It's on the west part of Houston. And they still live in the same house that I grew up in. And so going home is just comfortable. So what I've always remembered. So yeah, and my husband here is a huge part of my immediate family. We've been together about 10 years now. We met on Match.com, so I am a statistic of online dating. But you know what? When I got on there, Steve, it was just to meet people. That was all. I had no expectations of finding somebody to marry. It was just getting to know what's in the world. And Chris has been my best friend now for 10 years. We've been married almost seven, coming up on our anniversary next month. And he's my rock. Biggest cheerleader, best friend, and he's good looking. So that is really good combo.
Congratulations, a little early on the anniversary coming up.
Thank you. Yeah, usually we book a trip once a year to celebrate, and this year we just got back from the Grand Canyon. I was there for some work, and so we just kind of made it a combo deal.
Yeah. So you mentioned Lubbock. So I'm trying to remember this about you. I think I remember correctly. So you're a Red Raider alumni, is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah, I started at Sam Houston. So it was close to home. I got a little bit of a scholarship to start college there. And I like the smaller campus. So I loved Sam Houston. And after a year and a half, they said, oh, we deleted the major you want to move into. We no longer have advertising. So you can settle for marketing and PR. And I said, I'm going into debt for this. I'm not settling worth anything. Who has an accredited advertising program? So, funny enough, the year I transferred to tech was my brother's freshman year in college, also at tech. My cousin transferred there also. My grandparents lived there. So, I got free laundry every Sunday to help me because I was a broke college student. Typically, I would eat a can of green beans for dinner, unless my brother, who had a welding job, he would come home and bring steak and chicken. I stuck to the cans of green beans. So, yeah, I graduated from Texas Tech in 2010 with a degree in advertising and a minor in painting. I'm not in that industry per se, but I use both of those every single day. And I don't know, it just feels good when you're doing what you enjoy, right?
Absolutely. So I don't know if there's a lot of sports fans listening, but that makes you a fellow alumni with Patrick Mahomes, just
It
for the record.
does. My family are huge Chiefs fans. My dad's going to the game this year in Dallas when they play the Dallas Cowboys. And yes, yes, I was actually there when Crabtree was there and made the infamous catch, like, I don't know, 3 yards from the goal line for the UT game where Texas Tech beat UT. We consider them an arch nemesis, and they consider us like this little pesky brother. So
Right.
anyway, yeah. So I was on ESPN that game. Very cool, because game
Okay.
day was there. So yeah, lots of
Very
fun.
nice. Very nice. So what do you like to do for fun? I know you just got back from a pretty incredible trip, right?
Yeah, the Grand Canyon was amazing. You know, Steve, there's some things where you admire for the grand size, and there's some things you admire for the prestige or the caliber of somebody you're listening to. Standing in front of that Grand Canyon, there was so much time and history there because it took millions of years to carve that. And it was such a
Mm.
great example, a reminder of consistency and determination because that water doesn't hurt, but over time it carved that canyon and then the tectonic plates did their thing too. But it was just a good reminder for what we do in life of sometimes it's not the thunder and the lightning and the tornadoes in life that give you the grand part. But sometimes it's that consistent water just keeps coming. And so while it was 117 there, we had all of our Columbia clothes on, so I didn't get any sunburns because I'm very pale, as you see. And yeah, I just loved it. So part of our what we like to do is travel. So Chris and I do a trip once a year. Another part I like to do is cook. So after dinner, after work, my favorite thing is to have a glass of wine, cook dinner, and then you get to enjoy what you make and then go on a walk around our neighborhood.
There you go. There you go. I
Yeah.
like it. When you were talking about the water, I can't remember exactly the quote, but it goes something like, "It's not by the power of the water, but by its persistence that it moves the land." And how apropos about any trials that we're going through. It's the persistency, it's the perseverance that'll get us through. And I'm sure you've had your share of trials. We'll get to that here shortly.
Well, I have a
But
stack.
so you speak, you coach, you train, you consult. Give us your sweet spot. Who do you really enjoy serving the most?
I really enjoy working with leaders that are overwhelmed with their team, lost on what to do, or confused on what's next. Because I've spent 15 years in the talent development space doing the avenues that you've mentioned. And so I like to help clarify and simplify. I know enough about the leadership industry, training, development tons of business acumen. Typically, when I was in corporate for 12 years, I worked in the business. I did not sit in HR just doing training behind, a wall. I was out in the shop with the technicians, out on the floor, learning production, learning manufacturing. And so, the people that are lost, I specialize in brainstorming and clarity. So, particularly with the name of my business, Imspire, is so that if you look it up in Latin, it means inspirare means to breathe life into. Well,
Mm.
if I can breathe energy into leaders who are tired, run down, not sure where to go, then that's what I'm all about because I've got a plethora of things to pick from. And based on what I'm listening to, I might share options that would help them. So typically in a company, people that hire folks like what I do are in HR or sales, and anything in between from executives to entry level students coming out of college. So that's why I like lead where you are. It's whatever that looks like. It's not just I'm an executive coach or I just do this. Like leaders are everywhere. And I think a leader is anyone. You're leading your family, you're leading your career, you're leading your life. And so when people ask me, because you and I both joke about this, what's your niche, Megan? I'm like, don't put me in a box. I don't want to be in a box. But the box is inspiring people to lead. And that's through the tough choices, that's the bold moves, that's the courage to go through fear. It's all the things behind it as well.
Yeah, I definitely I think of you on that topic of niching or niching
Uh-huh.
down. Like Megan, it was one of the first people that I met that did not do that and has been blessed beyond measure to just serve people where her talents are and where her heart is. And that's a whole nother discussion. But I've always loved that about you that you don't fit into that box. Megan, so most of your work is it done in the Houston area? Has it grown to expand beyond that? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, great question. Ironically enough, most of my work is coming out of Dallas, so our neighbors to the north. So I'm there quite a bit. I get to see my family at the same time. But a lot of my clients are here in Houston, and then they have branches in Dallas, or right now I'm working with a company out of Denver, one out of Tennessee. And I just got back from some work in Vancouver in Canada. So my background lends itself to international work. And so I have a history in that. I love the international piece. Steve, it's always fascinating to me to see what makes people tick and why do we do this. And cultures around the world are a very cool learning ground to see that. And so, while my clients are from anywhere, there is just kind of changes by the hour when someone says, "Hey, I saw a LinkedIn post. Can you help me with this?" And that niche thing too. It's interesting. I just started October 9th. I don't think I've told you this. So here's a fun fact. October 9th, I'm doing my very first public class all by myself, posted it. So I've been doing these workshops forever. However, now I'm the one that booked the venue. And I said, hey, I've got tickets, I've got the venue, I've got the food, I've got everything. So come on. And so I think I've sold 2 tickets right now. And then there's more coming that are in the works. But I only just started advertising for it. So I think it's more about finding really important, valuable topics that I believe in. And so clients come from different industries, different departments as well. And so, yeah, I'm pretty open. I don't mind traveling, as you could tell from our earlier chat. And I work to balance work-life balance or work and home life with that.
Well, congratulations on the event. That's
Thank
super
you.
exciting. Yeah, and you've already got two people signed up and haven't really started advertising yet. That's great.
Yeah, thank
Um,
you. Step of
so presently, what would you say percentage wise when we think about your work, how much of it is done in person versus virtual?
Ooh, I would say coaching is a lot of times virtual.
Mhm.
So online coaching. Most of what I'm doing right now are strategy workshops, everything disc workshops where you take the assessment and I do team building. I had a really cool 2 weeks ago. I built a custom workshop that I think is my new thing. But anyway, I did the Amazing Race. I had people going all over the room and the building and doing stuff. And so I would say 95% is in person because then the coaching piece on virtual is only a part of what I do. So yeah, lots in person workshops. Yeah, that's primary it. So Yeah, and then podcasts and things like that will be online, but for the most part, in person is back.
Yeah, thank goodness.
All
There's
right.
nothing like in person for sure. Okay, so you've achieved success in the corporate world. Obviously, you're obtaining success right now in your own business, and I could not be happier for you. It sounds like things are continuing to progress and advance for you, and it couldn't happen to a nicer person for sure. Um, but it hasn't always been easy, has it? There's been some obstacles along the way. There's been some challenges. Is there one in particular that you feel comfortable sharing with our audience? Because everybody watching understands that the mountaintops don't come without our share of valleys, and I know you've experienced those as well.
Oh, yes. Yes, I have. You know, and you said just mention one, and I'm thinking they all daisy chain together. I would say, based on the You Are Worthy network, what I'd like to share is one where I didn't feel worthy at all at the time, and now how much I've learned. So, a couple years ago, I was working for a leader who was very acclaimed, very experienced, very respected. And after the first year of working for her, she completely changed on purpose and intentionally became someone different, intentionally was wooing people for a year and I guess being fake, I don't know, and really appreciated my creative side, my energy. And then all of a sudden, there's some unethical stuff that happened. So I went to her and I said, I don't think this should be going on. Anyway, it got escalated to the person. So I met with the senior leader about it. And, after that, my job changed. So they say retaliation doesn't happen. Yes, it does. Soft
Mm,
retaliation, the kind that you can't prove, the kind that's not in writing, the kind that's all your opinion and in your mind. Oh, yeah. So after that, my whole team was removed from me, and my pay didn't change, but that's in writing, right? Told you, retaliation. Um, and I was restricted to just do one job, deliver workshops. I was no longer a training manager. And so that really damaged me because, Steve, I really like to be a good judge of character and I like to listen. I trust my instincts. And man, was I wrong about that one. She was vicious and cruel. I think there was at one point, and this was all, well, I'm not going to put a timeline on it because you could figure out who it is. But she made it very clear hours of meetings telling me what a bad person was, how I didn't do my job well, ripping me apart. And the problem was, Steve, is the best compliment I've ever gotten came about a couple years ago. So it's way after this person I'm telling you about. And because it was somebody just understands me and it compares to the story I'm telling you. So I'm going to share the quote. The best compliment I've ever gotten was that I have big wings. And what that means to me is I'm just being me. I'm just spreading wings and I'm flying. I'm not here to hurt you. I'm not here to take your job. I'm not here to make you look bad. I'm not none of that junk. And so when you compare that to where I was, and it was shredding me for everything, and I was getting good results in all the workshops I was delivering. Senior executives were giving good compliments, and it was just this personal vendetta. And so that was probably the biggest part about not feeling worthy. I wasn't worthy to have a team. I wasn't a good leader anymore because I clearly had got it taken away, and it
mm,
really damaged me. Fast forward to now, this was years ago. Actually, just finished going to a therapist to help fix what that lady did to me. Um, and so lots of pieces have come out that make more sense. And they actually tie in also to I was being bullied in elementary school and junior high and high school for being ugly. And so, things tie together and your brain kind of tries to survive in life. And so it connects things. All that to say, it carried with me for years. And I wouldn't say a huge burden on my back, but a little take, like a little pull, like, hey, 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 this happened. Hey. And so the way I overcame it was I kept going. I'm not settling, just like I told you about finding Chris. And things kept happening. I kept going to companies. Either unethical things would happen, or it wasn't what I interviewed for, or both. And it just kept repeating. So I went into a job, things like this happened again and again. And I started thinking, I'm crazy. Like, it must be me. I'm the only common thread here. And I thought, when I got the big wings comment, I was like, finally, somebody understands. I'm just trying to be me. I'm not a competitive person. I'm not here to challenge you. You hired me to do a job, so I'm going to ask, why are we doing this when this is more effective, or have we tried something else? And so what I can tell you all the way up to today, this morning, I actually had a coaching call very much about the topic of your network. You are worthy. And so there's a major presentation I have coming up. I'm very excited about it. But when you get the big gulp in the throat, you're like, oh, okay, I'm ready for that, but I'm not. But I am, but I'm not. And so I had a coaching call, knew that something wasn't right deep inside, like I'm just unsettled. Okay, so I talked to my coach, and what I came to figure out today for the first time was I worry about being enough. And so, as you read the intro, and for those of you listening, right, you hear this line of things, in university scholarship, leaving corporate and starting a business, giant clients, awards, certifications, like you'll see it. But even, somebody like that has that, I still wonder, am I enough when I step on that stage? Am I enough when I do a workshop? Like, am I what they need? Because here's the thing that I also learned this morning when I was exploring this. If you think of something, someone really great, like the people I think of, I'll just go there with Taylor Swift. I'm not a huge Swiftie fan, but the girl has a work ethic that is bar none. And so I work with a lot of university students, and they all are Taylor Swifties. So I started following her too because it's important to them. So I'll go learn. And the amount of work she did during her huge tour was just phenomenal. And so to me, when you look at people, just for Taylor Swift, for example, somebody that's really great, and you might have somebody in your own life, a mentor, a family member, or somebody in business or nonprofits, whatever. I really don't think they aim to be great. I think you're taking someone that has a true purpose, that, like Taylor Swift is an artist. That girl wants to share her story and make music. That's what she's doing. And if it's on a stage of three people or 300,000, that's what she's doing. And so when I look at my own story in comparison, this morning wondering, am I enough? My mission is not to be great. My mission is not to go in that manager from years ago and be perfect. I'm not here to solve the world's problems. I'm here to be myself. And to me, that makes you enough. And that makes you worthy, even if a leader
Yeah.
doesn't see it. Or what I would argue is she saw it, didn't like it, and wanted to get rid of it. And that's why she acted the way she did. Because I'm not settling for being treated like that. And when I escalate it to HR and they side with my boss, there's a lineup and it's time to go. But I think too, a lot of people may not recognize it in you, but that does not mean it's not there.
I love that. Thank you for being so vulnerable and authentic about that experience. Um, our tagline in the You Are Worthy Network is "Your story's not over yet," and you just described that so beautifully. How that experience that you had with that boss could have taken your psyche out, and I'm sure it did
It
temporarily.
did for, yeah,
But that's the whole point. We all fall down, but we've got to get back up. And you got back up, and your story was not over by a long shot. And I would even say that that experience made you stronger and part of who you are today. So thank you for sharing that. We're going to put your contact information, all your links into the show notes. But if people want to find you, learn more about you and what you do, Megan, what would be a couple places to find you?
I am all over LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. So if that's pick the channel that's easiest for you. And if you go one place, everything's connected. So if you go to YouTube, you'll find me there, and all of my stuff leads you to anywhere else you want to go. But I encourage you, if you ever, and to your point, Steve, about it made me stronger, I think that's the magic part. I think that that's what happens for all of us because I speak for a living. And do you want to know what the number one thing people say in comments are? Energy, because that's just me being silly and goofy and wearing bright neon colors, but also vulnerability. Because once I learned it about myself, and I'm really proud of myself for not crying about telling you about Am I Enough? Because I was a mess this morning. They say tears are a result, especially in coaching, of you carrying something too long that comes out. And so that's what this morning, it wasn't like horrible, awful crying. It was like, oh my gosh, I feel so better. And so I think too, it's remembering, how do you connect with other people? You keep it real. And so the vulnerability piece, I think, unites all of us. Who likes a Buzz Lightyear to stand there and say, everything is great and my life is awesome and it wasn't hard at all? Nobody connects with that. That's not real.
Mhm.
So if you want to reach out, feel free to. That's why I got into my business, because if I can inspire a leader in any part of their journey, wherever that is, that's why I'm on this earth. So thank you for letting me share my passion and for getting to know me. And Steve, I'm so excited to see you soar in your business and what you're doing. So consider me a lifelong friend from the South.
I'm so grateful for you, Megan. Thank you for sharing your talents and your story with us. And like I said, in the show notes, we'll include all those links and how people can find you more readily available.
Thank you.
Um, just thank you for sharing with the network today. Friends, that about wraps it up. But as always, just a reminder as you go about your afternoon and evening this Wednesday, you are worthy right now. And Megan said that she was glad that she didn't get emotional. And I understand why she would say that, but it would have been okay if she did too, because this is a safe space and it's a safe space for you. You're worthy. And just like Megan, your story's not over by a long shot. Stay blessed.